Is there an action in the last 15 years by the City Council that you believe was a serious mistake, and why? Secondly, what do you believe has been the best decision by the City Council in that same time period, and why?
Well, first off, I try to learn from mistakes in the past, so I don't always totally remember the past, but I try to look forward from them. I think back more than 15 years ago, there was a big change in Faribault with the closing of the Faribault State Hospital slash Faribault Regional Center, and as also known as the Faribault Regional Center. I think that the city at that time also, I think the city was lagging behind other neighboring communities in economic development. I am pleased with the work and speed at which the city has accomplished the new Dakin project and also the new airport development going on out there, as well as other projects.
Well, to the first part of the question, I think rezoning property for developers who then leave town to build elsewhere or turn around and sell the properties to someone else. This is the biggest concern that I see. I would like to see the city adopt an ordinance that requires developers who make zoning changes when their intent is to do development to comply within a reasonable amount of time. Now, whether that's 6 months, 90 days, 1 year, whatever it is, that would have to be decided. But if the developer fails to follow through with their request, then it should revert back to the previous zoning. Because neighbors are angry. And as the statutes are written now by the state of Minnesota, there's not a whole lot of leeway we can do after the fact. So if we change our ordinance with the help of our attorneys to make that a requirement that, hey, you got 6 months, 90 days, a year, whatever it is to do this, and if you sell it, then it just reverts back, I think that would alleviate a lot of concerns. The second part of the question is, you believe what was the best decision made by the City Council during this time frame? And again, I'm going to go back and say it was the rental housing license. It holds landlords and tenants accountable. It makes the community safer and more desirable to live here. And ultimately, that's what we want.
There's no real negative or mistake that I could point out that City Council has done in the last 10 to 15 years. The one inherent problem with government as a whole is the fact that one issue I see is city staffing. I've seen it on the community development side. I've seen it on the police department at times. 10 to 12 years ago, when the economic downturns of the times, city staff was the first thing that cut. Now in good times, when we need help, we always lag behind. It's an inherent problem of how the government budget cycles work. It's not like private industry where if we want to hire somebody today, we can just go hire somebody. It's a problem in every factor of government. So the one thing you need is strong leadership from your directors that are in charge of every department at city staff that can look into the future and see the needs of staffing. The positive side I've seen is the nice programs that the city and the Economic Development Authority did on spending money on downtown, improving the facades in the front and the entryways of the business. It was a well-received program. It worked great. I think in the future, as the downtown grows and gets better, I think I would like to see that expanded outside of the central business district and to some other parts of the community.
Okay, I cannot think of any specific actions that the City Council made that was a serious mistake. But having come to Faribault about 17 years ago, we had a distinct feeling that the city and the community did not really want any change, any growth. There were a number of companies that were trying to come to Faribault in that time, and for whatever reason, they did not come to Faribault. They went to Dundas, they went to Medford and to other communities, and that's a loss of tax revenue as well, and of opportunities for people to come to town and visit those businesses, or those businesses to bring employment to town. So this is where Faribault lost out on tax revenue, and for businesses that people would visit or businesses that would bring more jobs in town. However, having said that, I have noticed over the last several years that there's a lot more openness in the city to grow and get more businesses in. We have gotten new businesses in, some bigger ones as well. And there's also a lot more activity happening in town. The city is supporting a lot more downtown festivals and activities. So I do see a change. And again, I do not have a specific action that the city took, but all in general, altogether, I see that openness, and I hope that openness will continue. And I hope I can be part of that to continue to drive the city in making good decisions for the city and its residents.